Hey guys, welcome back to Own Your Shit with Jen Carrasco. We have an amazing speaker here today that I am thoroughly excited for him to introduce himself. And, hey, if you want to talk about all the health and all the health options, this is the man for you. But I love your shirt. So when we forward it to you, you can see his shirt has a straight poop sign on it, which I'm digging. So Tim James, I'm going to let you take over, my man.
All right. So thanks, Jen, for having me on. It's a different format. I think it's fun. So my name is Tim James. I grew up over in Eastern Oregon. I'm redneck, farmer, hunting and fishing. I played baseball at a high level. By the end of age 37, I was overweight, skin issues, rectal bleeding, had to have an organ removed. My health was falling apart, mental fatigue, just kind of a mess. So I was able to turn all that shit around. And Here I am. I'm approaching 49 years old. I feel like I'm 18, and I built a company, a coaching company, and a products like a detox nutrition product company that we ship worldwide now, helping other people do the same thing. So I deliver people like clinics in a box, and we coach them through the process so that people can wake up and feel good. We try to cut right through the bullshit and get down to brass tacks of what actually is working with this intelligent system, this body, and not look at the body like a decompartmentalized deal. It's one complete system, body, mind, spirit, all of that. And we encompass all that in our program over here. And I wake up and I feel good every morning. And I know a lot of people are like me. They don't. And it's almost surreal because I see pictures of myself when we're putting marketing things together. And I'm like, I can't even believe that was me. Because it seems like it was so far. I mean, it's been 11 years now. But at age 37, having a big, huge belly and elbows cracking and bleeding with eczema on my knee and just in pain all the time. And when I pooped, blood would come out and it was painful. And I have great poops now and I feel good, So I just want that for other people. And I want to inspire other people to understand that you can do it. If you feel like you've tried everything, you haven't. Because if you had, we would bring your body back into balance. You'd be feeling good right now. Now, some people, it's a little bit harder, takes a little bit more time, and like, one doctor told me, he said, Tim, you've done a lot of shitty things in your life and the body heals like the seasons. So this isn't, take a pill and tomorrow you're better program. We teach people a lifestyle.
Yeah, I love it. And, I don't know if you know, but I've been doing skincare for over 23 years and I do a lot of face mapping. And so I can target a lot of times what's going on actually internally with somebody's body. And, a lot of people say, well, use a cream or do this or do that. And I'm not the advocate that does that. I'm like, no, how are you eating? What are you eating? What are you doing? You have a gut issue here. And I can see it within the skin.
Did you study that on your own? Or because that's like, like my formulator, Dr. Scott Treadway, who formulates our products. He trained over in India under Ayurvedic traditions and Siddhar healers. And there's something, I'm going to probably butcher this, but they read the face. And it's called like collectrum. I can't even pronounce it. I'm going to butcher it, but there's a name for it, Sherlockanum or something like that. And they study the face, and then from the face they can tell what's going on in the body, and then they can prescribe certain types of herbs, yoga, meditation, maybe massage or whatever pressure point things to bring the body back to balance.
Yeah, I am not that. How do I say educational on it? As far as what herbs to take or what to do. But I know that when somebody sits in my room, in my clinic, and I analyze their skin, I know exactly where they're having issues. So I know exactly where or who they need to talk to help them with what they need. But it's always been my gift ever since I started, is that I knew internally it was something else going on. And so I can target all of that. So I am really taken back by what you do, because I'm a health advocate. I love that. Like that is my drug, is to learn everything I possibly can learn to help other people, of course, myself as well. So what was your own your shit moment that I knew kind of where it was with your story that you started, but where was it that you started educating yourself about all of this stuff to create what you have created?
Yeah. Well, my buddy got diagnosed, Charles, at age 43, got diagnosed with an incurable blood cancer called chronic lymphocytic leukemia. He talked me in. Well, he didn't have to talk me into it, but he's asked me, he said, hey, they don't have anything for me, Tim. And I want to see, his son at the time was 14. He goes, I want to see Charlie graduate high school. I want to go to Father-Son weekend at Oregon State University, and I don't want to die. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is this, at the time, it was a 61-year-old detox and natural clinic, food is medicine type thing. They do lots of sprouts and juices, and it's educational. It's really a school too. It's not just where you go there and go through programs, but there's doctors and nurses and blood tests, and then like tons of sprouts and lovely people that help support you as your healing journey. So we went to this place, and he asked me if I would go, and I said, sure. Now, remember, I was the redneck, so I was hunting and fishing, and, we had our own Hereford cattle, and meat was kind of like part of being a man. Besides, I thought you had to have it for muscle and all this stuff. And that movie Game Changers came out and kind of blew that out of the water for most people. But when I went there, I woke up after being on that program for a while, and I looked at Charles, and I was like, dude, do you feel as good as I do? And he's like, yeah. I said, we have literally discovered the fountain of youth. I'm like, this is what everybody's looking for. This is like, it's not some mythical thing. It's like my arms were tingling, Jen, with energy. My brain was like lit up. I felt great. I dropped 11 pounds in the first week there, and I've been struggling. I gained 3-4 pounds a year. And I was so excited. I said, dude, you're going to heal that cancer. I'm going to do this whole program with you. We're going to go back. We're going to kick ass. And that's what we did. And we came home and we followed the program. We juiced twice a day, did all those things. I started growing sprouts and started teaching classes. And, 5.5 years later, I'd had 5,500 people to my home, a lot of cancer patients, because of Charles. As my story got around, and people just started coming to my house in droves. We had to actually schedule classes on Wednesdays. That filled up. Then it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I was teaching these educational classes for free while I was a financial advisor, raising 2 kids, wife, teaching, coaching basketball, coaching football, and all that other stuff. But I loved it. It was just like, I wasn't making any money. I was losing money. I was like growing sprouts and delivering to 40, 50 cancer patients a week and losing money on it. But that was like kind of my thing to give back, because I was so lost, and I was an athlete in my mind, but it wasn't the athlete anymore. I couldn't even run around the track once without huffing and puffing, falling over. And now I can sprint around that damn track over and over again, and I'm in great shape. I trail run. I'm almost 50. So I'm excited about getting older every year. And it's like, how healthy can I get? How young can I look? How young can I feel? And how can I teach other people to get out of this bullshit mentality that, you're just getting older? No, it's not. It's like, we are like living light beings. We're basically a bunch of spinning electrons. And what I show people how to do is crank up the electrons in the body, increase the electromagnetic frequency in the body. And guess what? You burn out all disease and you get your life back.
Yeah, I love it. I'm actually fully interested in this. But first off, me just being the curious person that I am, when you went to this clinic, what was the changes that you made as far as your food? Because I know like food and diet is huge with everything.
Yeah.
So what were the changes that you started implementing?
Well, it was pretty radical, because I was literally standard American diet: meat, potatoes, cake, ice cream, candy, donuts, repeat, lasagna, just everything, noodles and sandwiches and all this stuff. And, and I was trying to eat healthier stuff. We actually made the organic changes, went to the organic milks and organic vegetables and that kind of stuff. But I was still, I felt better. Actually, the food tasted better, but I really wasn't getting the results I was looking for. So I went there, and I don't want to scare people off, but it was a completely plant-based diet. So if you're eating meat, I don't want you to think like, oh, I could never do that, because Charles was dying of cancer. So they wanted to remove everything. What the goal is that the standard American diet is so high acid and low oxygen, it becomes a perfect breeding ground internally for viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, fungus, parasites, these mutagens, and cancers. So what they do is they put you from the inside out, they put you on the highest oxygen, highest alkaline diet. You change the internal terrain, and then the harmful organisms pack their bags and they leave. So the first class there was called Internal Awareness. And this doctor comes out, and this dude's like freaking jacked, and he looked great. He actually turned 50, Dr. Scott Josephson, that day. And he looked like he was 40. And that was kind of the theme there. The people had been working there 10 years longer. They looked about 10, 20 years younger than the general population their age. So, but I'm still skeptic. I'm like, how could this little podunk place be helping people with cancer? They got Race for the Cure, billions of dollars, our best minds running, right? How could this place do it? Well, I learned there because it was a school. It was nature. We have been disconnected from nature, Jen. So this doctor was really smart. He said the average person has 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in the colon. It's just waste matter, just sitting there. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's doing this whole thing, teaching how the body works. I'm like, all right, it's like a 3.5 hour class. But what got me was, and I guess this was really the oh shit moment, was he showed 4 virtual colonoscopy videos. 3 of them were unhealthy people, and one was somebody who had been on this Hippocrates lifestyle, eating all these living foods, sprouts, sprout juices, and alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, wheatgrass, doing all this crazy stuff, right? Sprouted nuts, sprouted seeds, sprouted grains, sprouted beans, all these things. Well, the first person was a 24-year-old female that had Hashimoto's, a thyroid issue, and she also had thrush, which is like a yeast infection type thing. Inside of her colon was all white and yellow and nasty, and I was like, God, you're not supposed to have white and yellow stuff, and it looked weird. Next person, 65-year-old male, colon cancer. Inside of him was mostly black and white little worms crawling on. He had parasites too, right? And I was like, oh, God, that looks terrible. And the doctor turned around and he said, hey, by the way, over 50% of you easily have parasites. This is not a third world affair. So if you think you're just because you live in America, you're getting away from this, you're not. Okay, most of you have it. You're going to see that as you experience it here because these parasites are going to be coming out of your butt. You're going to see them coming out of your pores. You're going to see other people happening. I'm just like, what? And I'm just like, I knew he wasn't lying, but it sounds so crazy to me. But you could see him on the video. So my skin's crawling now. And I'm just like, oh my God. And before these shows, these videos, he was trying to convince us to do a colonic or colon hydrotherapy. You familiar with that? Yeah. So for those listening, I wasn't. You set on a tube rectally, and water basically just goes gently in and out of your colon for an hour and it cleans your colon. So even though he was like convincing on stuff, I wasn't going to do it, but he was smart. So he shows these videos. Now, the third one was a 45-year-old female with breast cancer. And I think she had like colitis or Crohn's. Her gut was all jacked up. And inside of there was black and brown and nasty. Okay. You understand in the colon, you're supposed to have brown stuff in there. It's a waste removal system. But he said it's not supposed to be a storage tank. And that's where most people are at. All right. Now they go to the fourth person that had been on this lifestyle. Inside, there was some brown waste matter, but the lining was pink and clean. You could see the blood vessels. The terrain was completely different, Jen, completely different. And that's when I got it. I'm like, oh, this is an inside job. And just because you can't see it, you don't know what's going on there. Even if somebody has a 6-pack abs, over 80% of those people, I've had those clients, eventually in their 40s or 50s, they're not working. They start shutting down. They have health issues. I had a 43-year-old guy with stage 3 rectal cancer. And the dude was a freaking athlete. So it doesn't matter what you look like. And there's a difference, right? Somebody who's truly healthy, their skin looks freaking amazing. Like, yes, it does. You want to have beautiful skin. You want to have a beautiful gut. You want to have beautiful villi, those intestinal hair-like structures that line the intestinal tract. If you learn how to keep them clean, take care of them, feed them and nourish them properly and build them up again, basically with that peristaltic action, it takes a 2 to 3 year process to do that. But guess what? Your skin's going to look freaking amazing. Unbelievable. Absolutely. And then you want to put on skincare type things that are really healthy too. So anyway, so that was my aha moment. I was blown away by it. And I actually did see, I went through a detox. I had a Hertz reaction, they call it. I had night sweats. I was irritable. I had a metallic taste coming out of my tongue as the heavy metals were exiting my body, probably from all the shotgun shells and fishing weights and all the stuff I was around, growing up on the farm, spraying pesticides and all that crap. And then, but I didn't have as bad as some people. Some people had rashes breaking out on parts of their body, all their body. And I did see parasites crawling out of people's pores. And at lunchtime, a lady had a parasite crawling out of her eye. So it did happen. It did happen. He was right. So, and people were like freaking out, like, oh my God, I pooped and my stool was covered in this white fuzzy stuff. And those were like, I guess, pinworms or something. So all these different types of parasites coming out. So urination, defecation, perspiration, respiration. And for women, you have a 5th pathway of elimination. It's called the menstrual cycle. So menstruation. So might be, I think, reason why women live a little longer. But anyway, so I learned all about this stuff about the body. We came home, we implemented it. And, a few years later, my little brother got killed in a mountain biking accident. And I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to do what I love. I picked up the phone. I called my financial advisor, mentor, and I said, Jeff, I'm out. He's like, what are you talking about? So I'm getting out of the financial service industry. And I'm taking over like a $2.4 million business. It's rocking. And he said, what are you going to do to make money? I was like, I don't have a clue. I'm just going to go help people with their health, though. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Bought a dry erase board. And, 7-9 years later, here I am helping people, coaching, products, and all the stuff that we do.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you showed that story or shared that story because, that's what we're all here on earth for. And it's finally, we get our calling and we go, okay, we know what we're going to do. We know what we're supposed to do. And following that, to me, fulfills me and makes me a happier person. So knowing what I have to do and helping other people get there as well, that gives me gratitude. That's enough for me. I don't care about the money. It's just that feeling that gets me.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Yeah. And so question for you, because I have 50 million questions for you now that you broke this open, because I'm such a nut when it comes to health. How do you feel then about meat? I mean, to be honest with you, I know it's a tricky subject, and people love their meat and some people don't want to talk about it as much. And you hear different
Yeah.
doctors preach about different things. But, I went vegan for a period of time, especially after one of my shows. And to be honest with you, I really felt the healthiest I was. And I even juiced. I mean, I have a guy here that would juice for me. But then you hear all the doctors say, well, you need your protein and you need this for the adequate muscle tissue and repair. I mean, what's your advice on it? What do you think?
Well, the first thing is that I think it's really important, not just with meat, but with politics and masks and jabs and everything. We have to understand that
Amen.
the pro anti dialectic is been designed by system scientists to divide us so they can conquer us. Okay. So if you're pro something or anti something, you have to understand that somebody's duped you into that. Okay. So I just want something that works. And I understand in the health space that everybody's body's different, Jen.
Mhm.
So we believe in personalized precision medicine, the right medicine and the right food for the right person at the right time. That's what we believe in. So you have to find out what works for you. You have to have first person experience. That's how you know.
Mhm.
So all I can tell you was I had all these health issues. Nobody was eating more meat than me. I kept 5 freezers full. Me and my buddy were like Robin Hood in college. We would, shoot deer and feed the baseball team, do all these kind of things. And when I went to Hippocrates, they put us on not just a plant-based lifestyle, but more living foods. Their motto is it's not the food in your life, it's the life in your food. So like almost literally everything was alive,
Yeah.
living food. So, and the reason behind that, and I'll get to the rest of the question, is because of biophotons and electrons. We were talking about this earlier. So if somebody and what are biophotons? These are the photons that come down from the sun. They're captured on the leaf of a plant via photosynthesis,
Mhm.
right? And they turn into electrons, and your proteins are there, but they're in amino acid form. They're pre-digested, so your body doesn't have to labor to convert. The fats are there, but they're in fatty acid form, pre-digested. You don't have to labor to convert. So there's some huge advantages from consuming the leaf of a plant rather than getting it secondhand from an animal, especially after it's been, a lot of times now where it's really been messed with antibiotics, hormone injection, raised in these terrible environments, chopped up, frozen, shipped in 1,500
Yeah.
miles, and then you cook at high temperatures. So, I mean, just a side note, like there's an institute over in I think it's the Max Planck Institute, where they show that when you cook animal protein, the meat, 50% of those proteins are coagulated, they're unusable, but your body still has to process them, and it treats them like an invader. So your leukocytes or white blood cells increase about 200 to 500% to break that down. Now that's also the case with cooked vegetables too. So that's where raw foods, because in nature, there's no creature on this planet eats cooked food except for humans. We're the only ones
Mhm.
that do this. Every creature on this planet eats a 100% raw living food lifestyle. So, after the invention of fire, then we probably started cooking a few things, right? So it takes time to change that. But so back to the biophotons. So what are the big deal about this? If you eat a junk food diet, you're going to emit about 1,000 biophotons. If you eat a 100% organic cooked food um, uh, diet, then you're going to emit about 23,000 biophotons. A newborn baby emits 43,000 biophotons. We know how much energy they have.
Mhm.
Somebody that eats 100% living foods, and there's not a lot of people that do this. Dr. Gabriel Cousens, you can look him up. He does. You'll emit 83,000 biophotons. So what's the big deal? Every day, your cells are dying and your body is regenerating cells. If you can make more cells than die, you won't age like everybody else, right? You're going to keep that youthful appearance. So it's all about biophoton energy. And I remember when I first went to Hippocrates, this lady said, "Tim, you're an energy." What she said, "You're an electrical light being." And coming off the farm, I'm like, this lady's woo woo crazy. Like, what's she talking about? But she was right. Because if you think about it, when you go to the doctor and they hook you up to all the diagnostic equipment, just an EKG is an example to measure your heartbeat. It's like, beep, beep. What is that? That's an electrical impulse. I mean, we create 98.6 degrees in heat. What's going on? We are a bundle of electrons and cells, right? So we are electrical light beings because those electrons come from the biophotons that are captured on the leaf of plants. So when you're eating the living foods like sprouts, you're actually increasing your electromagnetic frequency.
No,
That's
okay.
it. And you're gonna start producing more cells than are dying, and that's how you defy the aging process. And that's why Charles and I, after just a week there, felt so damn good. And most people hate public speaking. Nobody likes to public speak. But at Hippocrates, you go there, and every week you have an opportunity. You don't have to tell your story. Everybody gets up in front of the group and tells their story. Everybody, without almost hesitation. Everybody gets up and I've seen some crazy stories, like unbelievable stuff. There was this one lady who was there with breast cancer. They tried everything, all the chemo, it wasn't working. They were both State Farm agents from Texas. Her husband was the barbecue pit champion of West Texas. She's like, he's crazy about it. He has a special room he built. All of his trophies have filled it up. And I was like, oh, do you use one of those Traeger grills? He's like, Traeger? He goes, hell, those things are crap, because I built my own. And I go, what are you doing here? He's like, well, my wife's got breast cancer and it doesn't look good. And she wanted to come here as a last ditch effort to save her butt. So I came here to support her, but otherwise I wouldn't be here. Because remember, it's plant-based. So I'm like, dude, I get it. It's me. And, but by the end of the second week, he had to leave a week early to get back to work, because they've been spending all this money going to these hospitals, the Mayo Clinic, all this stuff. And he got up and he goes, when I came here, I didn't want to come here at all. There's no way I would have set foot in this place if it wasn't for my wife. And he goes, but I felt better than I felt in 30 years. He goes, I can't believe how damn good I feel. And he goes, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but he goes, I'm going to go home and I'm going to shit can my barbecuer. That was pretty impressive. So I came back. I was plant-based for 8.5 years. And then I thought, well, but historic. And the reason I kind of stayed away from it, because when I talked to the doctor, I said, Dr. Clement, I'm like, I don't eat that processed crap. We shoot deer and elk and all this stuff. And he's like, well, Tim, where do those elk and deer go eat at night? And I was like, well, they go to the farmers' fields. He goes, don't they spray on those crops? I was like, yeah, they spray stuff on it, pesticides, fungicides. He said, but even if they don't, 30 miles away they are, and there's this thing called wind. And every time that deer or elk or cow, organic grass-fed cow, takes a bite of that grass, it's bioaccumulating in its fat and its muscle tissue and its blood, all the toxins that are in that food. We live in a polluted world today. I mean, 70% of the water is acid rain. 74% of water is tested has glyphosate in it, which is the main herbicide in Roundup, which is a hormone disruptor in our bodies. All the estrogen mimickers in plastics are so pervasive that 1,500 miles into the interior, 2 to 2.5 inch fish have both male and female organs now. They're turning into hermaphrodites, and guys are getting man boobs. There's more prostate cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cysts, uterine cysts. These are all hormone disruptors. That's why I tell people, do not drink out of plastic. Stop wearing plastic, nylon, lycra bras, polyesters. The microplastics, when you wash them, are going into the system, and they're coming back into you, and they're off-gassing, causing problems. There's a book called Killer Clothes. You can read that, and it'll shock you. And it's like I only wear natural fibers anymore. So all this stuff is going on. So I told him, I said, I learned about the pollution. He said it's called bioaccumulation. So the chemicals or toxins bioaccumulate in the meat. And it made too damn much sense. So I went plant-based for 8.5 years, but I thought, now that I have this handle, I'm like, I do infrared saunas daily. I got this purified restructured water. I get air purification. I take my detox products that pull this stuff out. I think I'll try a little bit of meat. So I added meat back in about 1.5 years, and then I pulled it back. And I just find out now that what I've learned is what works for me is I don't want to be a fanatic about anything, because that causes anxiety and stress. Number one, oh, I can't have meat because it'll die or whatever. But if you don't want to eat it, then don't eat it. Just do it in a loving way. But the other thing is, if you go vegan, don't go running around saying, you're a killer. I'm like, dude, two minutes ago, you're eating a sandwich, a hamburger. 2 weeks ago, I've seen people do this, or vice versa. Let people just do what they want. Yep. You be the change that you want to see. If you want to be healthy and find out what works for you, just do that. And when people come to you and ask, you can share with them. But other than that, don't go pushing your crap onto other people. It's a waste of your time and their time. They're going to go into defense mode, and they're going to hunker down, and they're going to not be close minded. They're not going to listen to you. So for me now, what I'll do is I'm pretty much plant-based. I do lots of juicing. I grow 70%. I grow sprouts like crazy. But in the fall, if I pick some chanterelle mushrooms, I'll probably have a chanterelle mushroom omelet, but it'll be organic eggs. Yeah. Right. Or if we go fishing, Jen, and you smoke a little tuna or something like that and say, Tim, I want to have a piece, I'll probably have it, as long as I know it's pretty darn healthy. But I'm just not going to be a freak show about it. I eat mostly plants now. That's what's working for me. And you have to find out what works for you.
Amen. I agree with you completely. So tell us about the program, because I'm interested. Tell us about everything that you do.
Well, that's a long conversation.
Okay.
But what we basically do is we help people work on 3 major areas. Number one is tactics and strategies to reduce stress in your life. Okay. It's number one. It's blowing out your adrenal glands and your cortisol levels and all that stuff. It's a problem. And sleep is very important, that kind of stuff. So the second thing we do is we give awareness to the crazy amount of these microscopic toxins that you can't see. They're like little invaders that are getting into your cells, your fat, and your muscle tissue, and they are dragging down your immune system. So I'll give you an example. I always tell people, don't take my word for it. Go to Google or whatever your browser and type in these three words: umbilical cord chemical. Umbilical cord chemical. And you'll see the same studies that I saw going back to 2005 that show that every single child being born and young mother in the umbilical cord blood, they test for 400 chemicals. They found 71% of what they're looking for, 250 chemicals in the womb. And 180 of those cause cancer in humans, and 212 cause developmental and brain disorders. Our children today are born polluted. And that's when I sat back in my chair, Jen. I was like, oh my God, we're all polluted. And the older you are, the more time you've had to breathe in these toxins, drink them in, eat them in, put them in skincare, deodorants, harmful if swallowed toothpaste. Please contact the Poison Control Center. We're putting it in our mouth, or your shampoo that says sodium lauryl sulfate. That's a known cancer causer. And we're washing our hair with it and our body with it.
Yeah.
The Glade air fresheners. It's 24/7. It's everywhere. So you just slowly get the awareness, and then you get the education, and you stop buying from these crappy companies, and you start giving your money to smaller companies that actually have a heartbeat and a pulse, and then you can feel good. You'll feel better. You can help them be successful. But you have to be careful, because as they get successful, those big companies want their shelf space back, and they buy them out, and then they slip their crappy chemicals into them. There's many things that happen. So we teach people how to get the chemicals out, but you have to have the awareness, right? And then the third thing is replacing what's missing. 85% of the nutrition has been farmed out of the soil today. You have to replace what's missing in the soil and the gut bacteria as well, because the immune system today, Western medicine looks at it as a two-box model: the innate and the adaptive immune system. That is a 100, maybe 60-year at best, antiquated model of the immune system. They're not talking about the interferon system. They're not talking about the gut microbiome or the neural system. And these are all systems are communicating with each other. The gut microbiome is so important. That bacteria, you find very many of the same bacteria in the soil that you find in your gut. We are connected to nature. We are an expression of nature. We don't live in it. We don't live with it. We are a part of it. Your body's mostly water. And we've been disconnected from nature. We've been polluted, and we've been stressed out. So what's worked for me and what's worked for thousands of clients that we've worked with, we reduce the stress, we educate, we clean up the chemicals and the crap out of the blood and the fat tissue on the micro level. And we start flooding the body with nutrition and bacteria, and people come back to life.
Nice. So, we will drop all of your links when we launch the podcast. We'll have everything for you out there. But where can people find you?
The easiest way to find us is just at our website at chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. And if you guys want to try some products, it's a little confusing because there's a lot of them. People are always, where do I start? Go to the products tab, scroll down to savings bundles, and you can get like a little jumpstart bundle if you want to stick your toes in the water, or if you want to go all in like me, like I do the total energy and detox bundle every month. And I also take our liquid turmeric product, which is a breakthrough product. There is no black pepper needed in this. It's over 100 times more anti-inflammatory and absorbable. It actually goes to the mucous membrane in the mouth directly into the bloodstream. Or just pick a bundle in between that works for you, fits your budget, resonates with you. That way you get a discount. And then at checkout, if they put in "own your shit" into the coupon code deal, you get an additional 5% off. So that's compliments of Jen. So you can get a double discount, and we have a double your money back guarantee on all of our products, because I know they work for 98% of people up the middle, but if they don't work, if something doesn't happen, call us. We'll refund your money. We'll put you on the phone with myself or a coach, and we'll help you find a different product, whether it's our company or somewhere else. And we just have a mission. We want to help people wake up and feel good, because for so many years I woke up and I felt tired, and I was looking at my body and I was embarrassed, and my world was shrinking. And if you're there, you can turn it around.
So question for you: in the bundle, when they go in there, are they going to get help with how to do things to detox certain things in the aspects of their body, or, their environment of what they're doing? Or is there anything that you would maybe provide for people to do more research? So say someone like me who's like, I want somebody to jump on this bandwagon with me and help me through this.
Yeah. So what we have for that is I actually stopped taking one-on-one clients. I've personally coached over 600 people through this process. I have other coaches. If people want to be handheld, we have that. It's not
Mhm.
cheap, but we have
Mhm.
the one-on-one, high level coaching, the VIP stuff. For me, what
Nice.
I've done is I've created a group coaching community, and I go live every week, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I do a topic, and then we do a live Q&A, so you can come talk to me.
Nice.
Get right out of the
Okay.
horse's mouth, ask your questions. Once a month, we also have Dr. Scott Treadway come on, our formulator. You can talk with the doc. That's what that Tuesday's called. We just did that last night. And then once a month, we have a special guest come on. Somebody that's got a really cool product or had a transformation, and that kind of stuff. So it's a constant way to plug in. There's accountability, and they have access to all my manuals, the gut detox guide. In fact, when you guys go to the website at chemicalfreebody.com, while you're hunting around there, a little thing will pop up and say, would you like a free gift? And that free gift is our Core 4 Secrets ebook. And these are the first 4 things that all of our VIP clients and everybody in the group coaching does. We focus on 4 things that move the needle the most with the least amount of effort. One of them
Nice.
is a minimal to a very expensive. It's getting your water dialed in. But the other 3 are really, really, they're free. It doesn't cost anything. And they're game changers, and over 95% of the population is not doing it. It's one of the reasons why they are struggling so much. So do the Core 4 Secret manual. You can hop into the group coaching. I'll just give people a heads up. When you purchase the products, you will get a one-time offer, and you get like 80% off of the group coaching. And you can grandfather yourself in at a fraction of the cost. Kick the tires on it for a month. If it's not for you, you can keep over $2,500 worth of manuals. We have that there, but I have that accountability piece because some people just have questions to begin.
Mhm.
We want to kind of launch you, and we don't want there to be any. We want those stumbling blocks to turn into stepping stones, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and
Yeah,
giving everybody advice, but your story, and I think more people need to hear this. There's so many unhealthy people out there, and to be quite honest with you, just everything you're talking about, I feel like myself, I eat very, very healthy. Will think that I do, and I work out very well, but let me tell you, I'm always getting sick. Like
yeah.
I'm
That just
always getting
that means
sick.
your immune system's down. So there is work to do. So that's
Yeah.
good because that's a check body light. So your body's telling you it's very intelligent. Jen, you need to change some inputs.
Yeah.
And we can definitely help you with that. And I want to leave the listeners with this too, because I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening, and I'm an entrepreneur. It bleeds. I just sweat entrepreneurialism. I love it. I can't work for anybody else. That just sounds crazy to me. And I think it probably does for a lot of other folks too. So we were talking about this story earlier. This kid, Izzy, was working for me, and years later, he went to work in sales and car sales. He'd gotten into a horrible car accident. He was a high-level soccer player, had to get operation pins, all this deal. But he was in the middle of a close, and he couldn't talk. The anxiety took over him. And then it happened again, and he called me, said, Tim, I need some help. And he hired me as a coach. And for fun, I've never done this before. I'd done business coaching before, but when you come into our coaching program, it's all about building your health, your immune health, your spiritual practice, all that kind of stuff. And I said, hey, Izzy, just for fun, what's the most you've ever made? He said, $8,000 in a month. I said, why don't we just set a goal at the end of the 6-month program? You're making 10K. He's like, okay. 2.5 months later, he hit 10,300. And I was like, whoa, that was awesome. And we figured it out. When you increase your vibrational frequency, literally, you become more attractive in the marketplace. People are just looking at you and your competition, and they're saying, wow, there's something special about her. There's something unique about him. I just like him. And you have the extra energy to
Mhm.
make the extra calls, do what you need to do. And also for your family too, when you're done building your business, you have extra energy left over for your family. I have like unlimited energy. I'm 49 years old. People think I'll be 49 in June, that I'm like on cocaine. I'm not. I am my cells are literally, I have so many electrons spinning in my cells. So we went back and we called all the people up and that were like on commission or had a business, and we did some research on them, and they did the math for me. We figured out a 21% increase in income, and none of those people did I ever talk about income. We only focused on having them clean up the inside, flood the body with nutrition, focus on high vibe breath work, getting their bedtimes, getting everything dialed, structure their life, and they increase their income. So you can literally increase your income, because when your body is vibing at a high frequency, your income, your spiritual life, your relationships, your career, all this stuff is attached to what? It's attached to you. So if you have more
Absolutely.
energy, your business is going to have more energy. It's going to grow faster. You're going to have a healthier bottom line.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Tim. I appreciate you.
And thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, like always, you guys, please like, rate, review, and I will have everything down below that has everything for Tim. So I just want to thank you, Tim. I got a world of knowledge today, definitely, and I'm sure everybody else did as well. So thank you again, and you guys have a kick-ass week.